examples.
Let's go back to when you were chairman of the Joint Chiefs and even slightly afterwards when President Bush decided to go to war in Iraq. You talk about it was based on faulty intelligence and indeed on lies and deceit, but you also say something about insubordination. You say, for instance, during meetings, some people were kept on after Bush had tendered his opinion and issued an instruction based on that opinion. Yet certain strong-willed individuals seem to disregard him and forge ahead with their own agendas almost to the point of insubordination. That's very strong indictment.
Well, there was a very strong push in those days for us to go into Iraq, and there was absolutely no intelligence, zero, that pointed toward Al-Qaeda, that pointed toward the Iraqis. It was all Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden, and yet there was an element there that was pushing to go into Iraq at the same time.
But what do you mean about insubordination?
The fact that the president says himself, we're not going to do that right now. Let's focus on Afghanistan, the Taliban, and Al-Qaeda. Yet below the surface, we still had this element that said, let's keep planning for Iraq just in case we can convince him that we can go.
And you think they could have convinced him?
Not at that time. I think that, as President Bush told me at Camp David, I just don't see it. We may go get Saddam and take him out, but it'll be at a time and a place of our choosing. It won't be as a part of the Afghanistan operation. He got it from day one when he was briefed by the CIA.
So you're saying he was pushed into it?
I think eventually that that same drumbeat continued, and Afghanistan, remember, was going very, very well. The drumbeat back here in Washington was still pushing, coming out of the Pentagon. Let's go to Iraq, let's take him out. And he finally said, let's go. We walked out on the limb before we could build a coalition of either the United Nations or NATO, one of the two.
You have some harsh words about then Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld. Is he part of the group that you're targeting here?
Well, I personally like Secretary Rumsfeld, but he was part of the group, he and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz, that continued to push to go into Iraq.